All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 664 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, where we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And I got a quick question. First of all, how about those Atlanta Braves? Atlanta Braves get another division title, and that's pretty awesome. Is it division? Yeah, division title. Yeah, got that. That's pretty cool. 6 in a row, I think. Look like they may be the favorites to win the World Series. I mean, they hit so many home runs. It's unreal. But the real question for today, though, I mean, seriously, can the Georgia Southern Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons knock off Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, as the Falcons play the Green Bay Packers and the Georgia Southern Eagles play the Wisconsin Badgers? Now, I'm not going to get into much of each game. I mean, I will do that for the weekend, so you guys can check that out, because I'm doing more content on the weekend on my YouTube and Rumble channel. So if you want to check those out, I am on YouTube and Rumble. But I'm just going to just talk about what does this mean, not only just for the Georgia Southern and Atlanta, but and the Falcons, but for the state of Georgia. What does this mean? Because we are, outside of the Georgia Bulldogs, not too many teams or people look at any other football team. Yeah, you got a few people look at, Georgia Tech. Shout out to K Styles with the Atlanta Falcons Nation. He's a Georgia Tech fan. But nobody else really looks at the other teams. It's Georgia Bulldogs and everybody else. But how about if Georgia Southern and the Atlanta Falcons beat up on the two top teams in Wisconsin as far as football goes? Beat the Green Bay Packers, and if we can beat the Georgia Southern Eagles, can beat the Wisconsin Badgers. I think that'll be a really cool look for the weekend, and it continues to make a statement for both franchising and programs, and we'll talk about that just shortly. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Like I said earlier, I'm on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to check out the podcast at your own leisure, you can check out any of those avenues. Or if you're over here on YouTube and Rumble, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We are growing. We're at 1450. I want to try to move up to 1500 and beyond. So if you guys don't mind, if this is your first time here, you want to get more information about these two teams, click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell as well. That'd be awesome. So also, I am on Twitter or X at VF Baller, and the website is firstandframerates.com. Over there, you can subscribe to the podcast avenue as well. And if you want to help donate and uplift and support the show, you can donate over there as well. All right, let's just get into this, because I done said enough. Georgia Southern going into Wisconsin, I think we're still like 16.5-point favorites. I mean, this is a very winnable game for Georgia Southern. This is not your typical FCS or, group of 5 team. I think this team is very talented. They're loaded on offense. The defense is looking much better than they did last year, and they're going to shock some people. Outside of a few blunders last year, I mean, not last year, but last game, and I'm not necessarily going to call them blunders, just slight decision differences caused the team to have a closer battle with UAB than it was. I mean, we were on the verge of like blowing this team out. I think it was like 21-0 at one point, or something like that, 21-7, and we gave them too many opportunities to keep the ball, and they end up scoring and getting closer. And at one point, I think they had the lead. I can't remember. I think they did, but nevertheless, we end up winning that game. The Falcons play the Carolina Panthers, and like I said earlier this week, they played a masterful game. They played a very good game by beating the Carolina Panthers, very well. To be honest, if you really want to be honest about it, it was a very good game. Few hiccups here and there, but I think if the team would have played more in the preseason, those things wouldn't have happened. Nevertheless, one game under their belt, they're going to host the Green Bay Packers at home, and I think it bodes well for the Falcons. I know Jordan Love is the quarterback. He's still fairly new, being the leader of this team. The defense for the Packers are actually pretty good. They're going to be down a running back. I don't think Aaron Jones may not play. Also, Christian Watson, he's been down with a hamstring as well. He may not play. But outside of that, I mean, these guys, they're fairly loaded. But I think with our defense is actually pretty loaded too. And we got a few guys that didn't practice, Troy Anderson, concussion protocol, Calais Campbell, non-injury related. He was sat out of practice, John Smith as well. But one good thing, Cordell Patterson, he participated in full practice, and Jeff Okuda is limited in practice. So you may have everybody playing today, playing on Sunday except for Troy Anderson, which is not a bad look because our linebackers have been looking really good. So this, second week, transitioning from the first week, I expect the team to get slightly better. And if that's the case, that bodes very well for the Atlanta Falcons, and they can start off 2-0 for the first time since forever. Also, when you look at the Georgia Southern Eagles, we're getting Keaton Upshaw back, which, we're getting him for the first time, which is an excellent addition to this passing game. You're talking about a kid that's 6'7", 240, 250 pounds, huge target for Davis Brin. And with Davis Brin passing the way he's passing, I think this is going to be a very difficult matchup for Wisconsin. I don't think their defense is going to be able to keep up with what we got going on. Even if they do, I think we can match them toe to toe. So I'm looking at another shootout. Only way I don't look at a shootout, if Georgia Southern defense actually steps up, and I'm not saying step up and do anything, to stop them, but if they actually step up and get some turnovers. If they get some turnovers, and I said stop them on third down, but if they get a couple of turnovers similar to what they did in the UAB game, this could be a really good game for Georgia Southern. I expect this game to be in the, mid-30s, 40s once again, kind of similar to the UAB game. I think the defense is actually going to play. I think they're going to play pretty much the same way they did before. Against the UAB game, bend don't break, type of defense. But I think the offense is going to be able to do more than what Wisconsin's offense is going to be able to do. And then I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I see us probably winning this game by 6-12 or 6-14 points, somewhere around that instance. So I don't think there's any injuries outside of Caleb Cook. I know he's out for the season with a broken leg. I don't see any other injuries that may be an issue for Georgia Southern. I didn't see anything for Wisconsin either. So it's going to be a really good matchup. They play at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock their time, 12 o'clock our time. And I will be watching that game, and it's going to be a really fun time to watch both of these games this weekend. It's going to be a really good time for football. So what does this mean if both teams do end up winning this game? To be honest with you, it gives the state of Georgia, the fans in the state of Georgia, or alumni of Georgia Southern, or people that's outside the state of Georgia that are Falcon fans, it gives them a reason to really look at this team outside of what the Georgia Bulldogs are doing. Everybody watches the Georgia Bulldogs because of the fact they already won 2 national titles. Even if you're not a fan, a lot of people still, the casuals still put their eye on this team. And, it just is what it is. There's not much you can say about that or do about that. But when you have multiple teams in one state doing good, you got the Falcons possibly going on a 2 to 3, 4 game win streak. You got the same thing with Georgia Southern Eagles possibly go. Look, if they beat, I'll tell you right now, if Georgia Southern beat Wisconsin, I don't see them. I'm looking at this right now. They go to Ball State, and then they're going to have a Coastal Carolina. You're probably looking at a 5-0 team because I don't look at Coastal Carolina as the Coastal Carolina of 2018, 2019, 2020. So, I don't see them that. I don't think they're that same team. Obviously they're a good team, but I don't think they're that good to the point where we should be worried. So if we get over this hump and beat UAB like we did, and we go ahead and beat Wisconsin, it's a possibility we could run the table. Because look, Texas State shows they have chinks in their armor. Appalachian State, you already know what you're dealing with them. I don't think their defense can hold up that well against our offense. It would probably be another shootout in Boone, North Carolina. James Madison is definitely a team that I'm going to be looking at. We have to go to James Madison to play them. So that's going to be a really tough outing. But the rest of the teams, we're probably looking at a team that may have one loss this season. You're looking at the Falcons. Like I said, I will stand by this. if the Falcons get a potent passing game, this team could win 14 games. If they played exactly like they did, not just the first half, I mean, not just like the second half, if they play a complete game like they did this past Sunday and they get maybe 100, 150 more yards passing out of Desmond Ridder, this team could go very far. And I'm not saying that just because how good the team is. This schedule is very favorable for them. So this is an instance where both of these teams could be on the level of post-game aspirations, just like the Georgia Bulldogs. And I don't think Georgia Southern will be in the same stratosphere as Georgia Bulldogs as far as the college football playoff. But when you're looking at postseason, they could get a really respectable, a very prominent bowl game. Now you're starting to talk about, okay, Georgia Southern has something going here. Wait a minute. The Falcons are actually looking good in the NFL. So you're going to have a lot more eyes on the state of Georgia as far as football. I mean, I don't know what Kennesaw State is doing. I don't know what Georgia Tech is doing. And I know Georgia State now is 2-0. I'm not 100% sure about that team. But then again, that team is the team that normally beats us when we are I feel that they're the inferior team, but they always find ways to beat us. We need to find ways to start beating them again. So outside of that, JMU, I think Georgia Southern's probably going to be in really good shape. And the Falcons are already shown that they can be. They just need to continue to execute. And I would like to see more of a potent passing game. But we talked about that earlier this week, and hopefully we wouldn't have to talk about that further down the road, but you never know. So that's pretty much it for this episode. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Can the Georgia Southern Eagles and the Falcons shock the state of Wisconsin and beat both their teams respectively? Let me know what you think. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I'm also on Twitter at VFBaller. And the website is firstandframerates.com. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for the support. I cannot thank you guys enough. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.